Story 1. The townhouse in Southern Illinois. Fall 2021. In the fall of 2021, I moved into a rented townhouse in Southern Illinois, living alone for the first time. I was 27, working full-time, and recovering from a difficult breakup, hoping solitude would help me heal. The townhouse was part of a quiet suburban cul-de-sac with similar units. Most neighbors kept to themselves, but one man stood out, a tall, bearded guy who often stood outside his house at night wearing a black hoodie. He never spoke or waved, just silently watched the street with a fixed, unsettling gaze. Soon, strange noises began at night, metal scraping like a creaky gate and footsteps on the gravel in my backyard. I called the police, but they found no evidence and suggested it might be animals. One day, I found a flat stone wedged under the gate, preventing it from closing fully, as if someone planned to sneak in quietly. Then, at about 2 a.m., I woke to the back door handle rattling. Security cameras caught a man in a black hoodie approaching and smiling at the lens before disappearing. Despite multiple police visits, no one was caught, and they refused to intervene further. Terrified, I left the townhouse abruptly, losing my deposit. On my last day, I found a note in my mailbox. The cops leave, but I don't. Later, the new tenant reported similar nighttime disturbances. Story 2. The foreclosed house in upstate New York. 2020. I work for a company that handles foreclosed properties. In 2020, I was assigned to clear out a small, isolated house deep in rural upstate New York. The house belonged to an elderly woman who had passed away, and the utilities had been shut off for over a year. Oddly, despite having no cell signal, my phone rang several times with an unknown caller. When I answered, all I heard was static or once, a whisper warning me not to answer the bedroom phone. Inside, the house was filled with old furniture and a rotary phone on the bedside table, which inexplicably rang despite the disconnected line. In the basement, I found a cordless phone and a notebook listing names and cryptic notes about calls. Suddenly, the basement felt oppressive, and I hurried out, shaken. A co-worker who took over the job later reported the same phone ringing and quit soon after. Police found no intruders, but the experience felt like something out of a horror film. Story 3. The basement in the rental house. 2019. In 2019, I rented an older single-story house with a basement I used for storage. At first, everything seemed normal, though the basement door was heavy and the light switch was halfway down the stairs, forcing me to descend in darkness. One night, I heard faint knocking on the basement door, 3 slow taps. Assuming it was the house settling, I ignored it, but the knocks continued intermittently. Later, I even heard breathing on the other side. After reporting to my landlord and having the basement inspected with no findings, the disturbances paused briefly before returning. One night, the basement door creaked open by itself, and I heard footsteps ascending the stairs. Terrified, I slammed and locked the door, then called the police. They found no one. I secured the basement door with a padlock, but it was later found broken and ajar. I eventually nailed the door shut and left the house abruptly. Even now, I sometimes hear strange low sounds beneath my bed and prefer not to dwell on what might have been in that basement.